Welcome, welcome, welcome to the closing keynote of the inaugural TPM Summit. Happy to have you all here. Happy for those of you who stayed this long. It's a long day, I know. For our closing keynote today, we are going to have Priyanka Shinde. Again, I say that and I forgot to ask how to pronounce her last name, just got her first name. So there you go. Priyanka will be coming up. I'm sure a lot of you have seen her on LinkedIn. She does her own coaching. She's an incredible force in our TPM community. She's one of the first people I reached out to read my book. Because again, just a huge force. So I'm really glad she's here to close this TPM Summit out. So without further ado, here's Priyanka.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good.
Hey, hello everyone. Louder. Let me hear it louder. Nice, nice. Hey. Well, thank you so much for being here. How's it been so far? Okay, you all hear me nice and clear? Okay, let's get started. Back in 2016, when I first attended the Women in Product Conference, I was so inspired and motivated. And since that day, I wished for an industry-wide TPM conference and to see the larger TPM community come together. I want to applaud the TPM Summit organizers before I go any further. Josh, Zanat, and Josie, yes. I meant to have put all this together while working full-time in their day jobs, right? Like the passion and the commitment that they have for this community is amazing. So you've already given them an applause, and I'll just say, let's do it one more time. Well, now, I also know that this is the last presentation of the day, and you all are probably thinking and ready to go home. And you've all been sitting here as well. So first, thank you for sticking around till the end of the day. I want to keep this talk light and fun. I want it to be interactive, and I want to hear from you, okay? So with that, all of you should have a sheet, a worksheet that's called Unleash Your Superpowers that you should have gotten in the bags that you received today. And then for anyone joining us virtually, you should be getting a link which will allow you to make a copy for yourself. So this is where we are going to use it, okay? You got all with me so far? Nice. So Josh was very kind enough to give an introduction earlier, and thank you for that kind introduction. I've been in the tech space for over 20 years across engineering, product, program, and I've been a TPM leader at Meta and Cruise. And I have been fortunate enough to work with some amazing people throughout my career, and even through my work as an executive leadership coach today. I'm very passionate about the TPM function. If you know me, you know that. I truly believe that when leveraged correctly, TPMs can really help the teams. And the value that we can bring to teams and organizations is amazing. For that reason, I started the TPM Academy because I wanted every TPM to feel empowered to showcase their greatness and have a profound impact on their team's success. On that note, I am really excited because you see over there, I'm soon to be authors. I'm excited for my upcoming book, which is TPM related. So if all goes well, like we think with planning, right, January 2024, so stay tuned on that. But more importantly, and most importantly, I'm a TPM cheerleader, okay? I don't have pom-poms, but I would have used them. Like, give me a T, give me a P, give me an M, right? And here's the thing. You also see fitness instructor there. So I'm going to bring a little bit of that. You all have been sitting for most part of the day. So I want you to do a little bit of movement. I'm not going to ask you to get up, but whatever you can do. So I want you to stomp your feet or clap your hands or make some noise, okay? Let's do it. Let's just stomp. Let's hear it. Louder. Nice, okay, now I feel it. Good job. Okay, one more thing, I promise, okay? So let's get our hands up, if you can get them up, and just shake them out. Rock and roll those hands. Okay, nice job, okay. Now, I generally also teach dance fitness, but if I had music, like you would see that happen. But we're not gonna get there, okay? So now that you know a little bit about me, I wanna know a little bit about you. Tell me, who's your favorite superhero or heroine? This was a talk about superpowers, right? So now is that time. You're going to use that sheet. You have a slot there to put your names, to put your superhero names down. And while you all write that down, I would love to just, people, shout out some names. Who are your favorite superheroes? Okay, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, I heard. Wonder Woman, yes. Sorry, say that again? Oh, Daredevil. Woo! Oh, that's a good one. Can't beat that, huh? Okay. I'm a big superhero movie fan. I love the Marvel and the DC universe. Seen most of the movies and the shows. You want to know who my favorite superhero is? Yes. Oh, well, that was a reminder for you, but I forgot about that. My favorite superhero is Iron Man. No, actually, it was a toss-up between Superman, Thor, and Iron Man. And here's why I like Iron Man, or Tony Stark. See, in reality, Tony Stark has no actual powers. He's a brilliant engineer and a scientist. A lot of us can relate to that. He's a formidable leader and a strategist. He just happens to have a sophisticated power suit that gave him superhuman powers. But beyond that suit, he knows his opponents and uses their strengths and weaknesses against them. He's also very self-aware of his own weaknesses and his limiting condition. In spite of that, he pushes forward, trains himself, builds his stamina so that he can handle the strain of that power suit. It is not easy for him to be Iron Man. He doesn't have to be a superhero, yet he still does. Why? Because the one thing that all superheroes do is save the world again and again. They are on a mission to solve something that has a big impact. They are invested and personally motivated to do so and are in that situation. For Tony Stark, he's kidnapped by terrorists, gets injured during capture, and is probably going to die. Now, I'll spare you all the details. But in short, he creates that power suit, escapes, and then decides to use his technology and money to do good, fight crime, and more. So what does this have to do with TPMs? You all, we all. As TPMs, you are on a mission to launch products and services to millions of customers. You are helping build robust and scalable systems upon which thousands of other products and services are being used on a daily basis. You're always involved in something bigger than you. Your mission can be connecting people around the world, improving developer productivity, building scalable infrastructure, and more. And you know it's not that easy. Because every mission comes with its own complexities and uncertainties. Of course, every mission has its own problems and obstacles. That's why we have you, TPMs. Just like the superheroes, you are solving real-world issues. You're involved in something bigger than you. And these problems are challenging to solve. And you're trying to figure out a solution. You're trying to deliver goals that lead to positive outcomes. So on that note, I would love for you to tell me, what is that one problem that you or your program is facing? So you can take a moment to write this down. It doesn't have to be a paragraph, okay? Something maybe that you're struggling with for a few days, weeks, or something that you know is just around the corner. Now, I'm asking you to write this down. I know you probably have this in your head, but that's why we are here. We are sort of synthesizing things, putting it down. And maybe a couple of you can share. So who wants to share with me or us here? And you can just shout it out. I'm trying to see. Who wants to share a problem? Something that's not IP protected? Okay, I'm going to going 3.
No, we have.
Okay, there we go.
Hello.
All
Resource
we need is a
constraints.
sentence.
Resource constraints. We have
Ooh,
not
resource
enough
constraints.
resources
Not enough people.
to meet the time
Yeah,
deadline.
yeah. Talk about, yeah, not enough people, the same amount of work to do, right? Yeah. So now, as TPMs, you're also trying to figure out a solution already. You're using your skills, your strengths. You are using your superpowers, right? So you're already probably thinking about how do I solve that resource constraint. So now, write down your top 3 TPM superpowers, your TPM superpowers. So you probably already know, like, hey, I am great at this. I can use this skill or strength of mine and get out of any bad situation. That's your superpower. So write it down, even though you might know it, because the brain truly synthesizes something when you write it down or say it aloud. So on that note, I would love for you to also shout out some superpowers that TPMs have and that you have. So let's go for it. Who wants to go? I'm going to go a little bit like that so we don't speak over each other. Who wants to go from here? Woo!
Attention to detail.
Attention to detail. What else?
Communication.
Communication. Ooh, synchronized. Nice. Yes, collaboration. What else?
Conflict resolution, end-to-end ownership.
End-to-end ownership, conflict resolution. Amazing. All good stuff, right? Okay. Now, I have had the opportunity to work with some amazing TPMs over the years, and I've seen what it takes for them to succeed. In my conversations with many TPMs like you all, I've seen that they have different skills and strengths that they continuously hone and turn them into their superpowers. And you don't need to all have the same skills and strengths, right? We just heard so many different things over here. We just need to know which one to use in what situation, right? So now, I have categorized all of these amazing skills and strengths that I have seen and observed in TPMs into 3 different personas, or you may call them super avatars of TPMs. And the best thing is you don't have to be just one avatar. You can shape-shift between these avatars. So what are they? Number 1, you are a thought leader. Now, I made you stomp your feet for a reason. So I want you to stomp your feet if you understand what it takes to be a thought leader or the term thought leadership. Someone? Yeah. Okay, that's good. A few years ago, when I joined a new company, I set up an introductory meeting with my organization's director. It was about a month in. A few minutes into that meeting, he posed an unexpected question. Are you considered a thought leader by your team? Anybody been asked this question before? Now, I don't remember what I said in that moment, but I remember feeling stupid and confused. Like, what does thought leadership even mean? Is there something I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing? As time went on, I understood that thought leadership is closely tied to influencing other people. It involves bringing forth your unique perspectives, ideas, and opinions to drive meaningful conversations and garner recognition for your own contributions. As TPMs, you're enabling other people to think creatively. You're asking probing questions so that they can go deeper on a topic. Sometimes we TPMs have to ask uncomfortable questions. We play the devil's advocate and we don't want to make assumptions. And you will find that others look forward to hearing from you because they know you're a neutral party and that you are likely to bring in objective thinking. And here's what's even more amazing about your thought leadership. You are not just influencing people. You are driving change, solving complex problems, and fostering innovation. Today, thought leadership is considered important to building a personal brand whereby you are recognized for your expertise. You are probably already being a thought leader, even if you may not know it. Just like I didn't necessarily understand this term all those years ago, but I was doing some of it. Number 2, you are a strategic partner. Stomp your feet again if you believe that your role has equal impact or is equally impactful as other functions like engineering and product. Yes. I have a confession to make. I have a big pet peeve. I dislike TPM being referred to as a support function. Yeah, I guess more people have the same pet peeve, right? Now, it's not just, I've seen it happen on both sides. It's not just from the teams. Even many TPMs, for whatever reason, believe that, think about themselves as support. How can you be support? How can TPM function be just support? See, as TPMs, you're in the middle of multiple functions and teams. You're working with technical and non-technical folks. You're teaming up with engineers, product, design, so many other folks on a daily basis. You're standing shoulder to shoulder with them, allowing them to focus on their core strengths while you fortify the foundation of the program. This approach is not just support. It is a dynamic partnership that drives results. And you are doing so by building deep, trusting relationships and using your emotional intelligence, EQ. Your understanding of the people helps you cut across organizational boundaries, which has a big impact. And here's what's great about you. You are motivating the teams, even if it's from the sidelines. That's what partners do. They know when it's time to lead, and they know when it's time to follow. You have a strategic insight into everything that's going on around you, and that's what you're bringing to this partnership. By being strategic, you are aligning everyone on that shared mission and moving everyone forward together. Third, you are a force multiplier. I think this power got referenced earlier today as well, right? And some other superpowers also I'm sure you took away. Now, I'm not gonna ask you this again. Stomp your feet if you think that you are helping reduce the time engineers spend in non-coding activities like meetings. Yeah? I was in a meeting with a few engineering managers a while back, and we were discussing headcount for hiring TPMs. I was telling them that I didn't have enough headcount to cover every single program. A senior engineering manager said to me, and I quote, "Priyanka, I am willing to give up an engineering headcount to gain the force multiplier effect of a TPM," unquote. Yes. If that's not proof of your superpower, what is? Now, pardon me for not sticking to Iron Man images here, but I feel like this one really kind of like showcases how TPMs act as a force multiplier. It's like multiple clones of you in multiple places at the same time. You are constantly thinking, you're constantly optimizing, streamlining, whether it's through setting up best practices, building frameworks, automating systems to reduce manual work. And you're enabling your partners to multiply themselves when they leverage those systems. See, when you make each person on the team 10% more effective, that adds up exponentially. As a result, the entire organization becomes more efficient and productive. That's your force multiplier effect. Now, these are just some of the avatars that I wanted to highlight today. On a given day, you may be donning one or more of these avatars and using their powers to achieve your mission. I also know that it's not all sunshine and roses all the time. Sure, having superpowers can help defeat villains, erase crimes, etc. Or in our case, mitigate risks, reduce costs, meet deadlines. But that doesn't make it any easier, does it? Sometimes challenges come along that help us or that prevent us from using our superpowers. Or those powers don't have quite the same effect. Sometimes these challenges can be in the form of external villains, like not getting a seat at the table, not being empowered, not getting the recognition, and unfortunately, even layoffs. Or sometimes these challenges can be in the form of internal struggles, like feeling imposter syndrome, lack of self-confidence, self-doubt. These situations can often leave us dejected and demotivated. Now, before we tackle these struggles and challenges, we have to first acknowledge them. By building our own awareness and understanding of the people, circumstances, and how our own minds impact us will help us navigate these challenges more successfully. On that note, I want you to write down what is getting in the way of you unleashing your superpower in order to solve that problem. Now, I know this is not the most comfortable thing to do, but the only way to walk across a river is to get your feet wet. And this is one time I'm not going to ask you to share anything publicly, okay? This is just for you. So take a moment and write it down. Okay. Now that you have that in front of you, let's try and tackle some of these things. I'm not going to leave you hanging in there. I want you to leave this room knowing that you have superpowers and that you have gained a few today. I also want to give you 5 tools or strategies, you may call them, to help you leverage those superpowers more effectively. Okay, you can think of them as 5 C's. So these are the 5 C's that I'm going to talk about next. Now, one of the most common misconceptions of a TPM is this caricature image of a project manager carrying a clipboard, checking things off their list, right? I feel like this is a 1980s remnant for us to deal with. Now, if you go to Blind today and you search TPM, you'll find so many such comments from people who don't understand why TPMs exist on their team. And if you read these comments, they can be funny at best and aggravating at worst. Now, in my conversations with engineering partners and product partners who have had amazing experiences working with TPMs, they all say that the best TPMs are the ones that take full ownership of not only the problems that they have been given, but also the problems that they just see and want to solve by themselves. These people are going beyond the tactics and tasks or status reports or Gantt charts. We are all good at that, but we go beyond that, right? You all are doing it. But sometimes we have to make that clear to our teams. And in order to do that, here's what I want to tell you. See, don't be someone who's just involved, but not responsible for a specific outcome. Kind of like the chicken. Be someone who is fully committed, accountable for specific deliverables. By being fully committed, you're not just delivering on the business outcomes. You are establishing credibility with your stakeholders and peers. Your commitment is seen as a value addition to the teams, which means a seat at the table for you and representation for the entire TPM function. Now, I want to tell you a story about a TPM friend of mine, Sam. One of Sam's colleagues had a few technical questions about a program, and she was looking for Dave, who she considered a subject matter expert. Sam asked her if he could help while Dave was out. So she asked her questions to Sam, and he gave her the answers and a bunch of details. At the end of the conversation, she told Sam, "I didn't realize you know this much. You're so quiet. You never say anything. I just thought you didn't know anything. You weren't technical enough." If you are introverted like Sam, speaking up in a meeting can be daunting. If you come from a cultural background like me, questioning authority can be intimidating. If you are not the subject matter expert, making a suggestion to a senior architect can feel uncomfortable. You may not be confident in doing any of those things, and here's what I want to say to you. You don't need to have confidence. You just need to have the courage. See, courage doesn't mean that you have no fear. It means you're willing to take action in spite of the fear. Courage is a precursor to confidence. The only way to build confidence is to get past the fears. Speak up if you feel that you have a perspective that will help the team. Ask a question if you're not clear or think an important point is being missed. Be vocal if you sense that there is a misunderstanding about your role. The commitment you just made requires you to show up courageously. Recently, I was talking to a very competent TPM who was delivering on some arduous goals. His name is Dan. Amazing TPM. Yet, he was feeling a sense of self-doubt. He said to me, "Priyanka, there were like 50 people on this program. How do I know if what I did was valuable? The engineer has tangible ways to measure their impact. What's mine?" My response? All 50 people helped make that impact. Your role, your contribution was part of that impact. How were you committed to the program? Where did you show up courageously? How did you lead others to think outside the box? What would have happened if you were not on that program? I'm sure we have all felt like Dan at some point. Here's something else I told Dan. First, you need to believe in yourself, your strengths, your abilities, your contributions. Only when you are fully convinced of your value can you convince others of the same. if you're not fully convinced about your role and why you're there, then ask yourself these questions. What is my purpose and role on this program? What can I do to make this program successful? Why did I become a TPM in the first place? Answering these questions will help you shift your mindset and transform your belief to conviction. So say, I am not that clipboard carrying taskmaster. I am a thought leader. I am not just support, I am a strategic partner. I am not a facilitator, I am a force multiplier. Conviction will boost your innate superpowers, and they will take your TPM journey to new heights. Good, 2 more for you. Now, TPMs, you all have superpowers, and then some. But even superheroes need a team to succeed. Going back to Dan, I bet even though he was feeling lost in that sea of 50 people, he could not have done that alone. One of the best partnerships I have had was with a product manager on a highly chaotic program. I mean, the moment both of us got there, it felt like doomsday. Lots of issues. It didn't feel like we would make the launch deadlines. So we got together and we figured out, like, what do we need to do for this program to be successful? We discussed our roles and responsibilities and what each of us brings to the table that is complementary to each other. Side note, I recommend you do this irrespective of if you have a roles and responsibilities or a RACI chart. Because if you discuss it, it's more real. Now, we leveraged each other every day, okay? So we discussed these responsibilities. We knew what each of us needed to do or where we could even ask for help. And so I would ask her for help. She would ask me for help if something urgent was coming on, irrespective of the fact if it was in the RACI chart or not. We could not have launched that program without each other. And knowing that I was not alone in that chaos felt so powerful. Clap your hands if you have had a great cross-functional partnership with someone in your career so far. See, you are not alone. You're surrounded by some amazing people, engineering, product, other folks, your peers. Work with them closely, talk with them, ask for help if you need it. Leverage the power of collaboration so that you can empower each other. Last but not the least, your community. This TPM Summit stands as a testament where the individual strengths of so many have come together to create a powerful force. Engage in the different networks, TPM networks or other ones. For TPMs, you have the Discord group. You have Mario's TPM group. You have this TPM events nonprofit organization. By doing so, you're continuously growing, learning, and sharing. Build community wherever you go and encourage others to do the same. Leave a legacy behind so that the power of TPMs continues to grow and thrive long after the summit is over. Now, I do see one slide missing. Let's see. Okay. Those were the 5 C's: commitment, courage, conviction, collaboration, and community. I have one last request. Write down that one action that you will take in the next 1 month to unleash your superpower. Let's write it down, and then I would love to hear what you have for me. And share it with the room. Inspire each other. Who wants to go? who's ready to inspire? And hey, even if you don't share today, I would love to hear from you. So you can always share it out with me, okay? You can get in touch with me and tell me how it all went. I would love to hear those stories.
Thanks, Priyanka. I think one specific way to unleash will be asking questions. So as you said, believing in ourselves, and like even it might feel like a stupid question at that point of time, but asking that question, trying to clarify that, and continue to provide that sort of clarity to other folks who might not have asked the same question. So.
Nice. Okay, so you're going to ask questions or more questions in the next 1 month. Amazing. Who else? Come on. Oh, got some.
Thank you. I think one thing that I will try to do, build communities and help people get together so that we can solve more problems and then have less problems.
Yes, yeah. See, more brains put together can solve problems faster, right? Who else wants to go? Let's do one more. One more. We're almost there. The side of the room is rocking it, huh, by the way.
Yeah, for me, conviction, I think, is a big part. And that's where, when there is doubt, turn to the community. There's a lot of support.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great. Amazing. Well, I wish you all the very best in doing that. And share with me how it all went. And I would love to hear more stories. Okay? So thank you so much for riding along and sharing your thoughts with the room here today. Ah, it's reversed. Now, TPMs, what lies ahead? What's the end game? Pun intended. We are all here to save the world together. Let's stand as a united force, a league of extraordinary professionals with our superpowers, ready to convert those challenges into victories. Just like our favorite superheroes, we are poised to make a real difference and leave a mark on the world of technical program management. Thank you all so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it for you all staying here till the end. I would, like I said, love to hear more from you, so please feel free to connect with me. You can get in touch with me through my website or connect with me on LinkedIn. If you would like to know more about the book, I invite you to go to this link to get more information and stay updated on all things TPM. And go forth and do great things. Hey.
Questions?
Yeah.
Just a couple questions.
Yeah, we can do. I finished very well on time. So yeah, we can do questions.
So Priyanka, you mentioned about this friend of yours who mentioned he was working in a team with 50 people trying to figure out what the impact is. And I think personally, at least, that's a imposter syndrome. I'm sure like a lot of TPMs feel is like the 100 people cross-functionally product engineering development, and you are a single TPM probably on such a program. How do you like in the end of the day, as part of the reviews, discussion with managers, how do you prove your real impact? I mean, you understand, your partners probably understand what you're doing, but how do you amplify that and make sure that you get the support and you show that across the team and the company level?
Yeah. Yeah, so your question is like, how do I show my impact on a program that has a large number of people, maybe 100 people. And so so one thing I'll tell you, which I haven't said already, I mean, one thing was like, you have to plan a little bit in advance. So even before you go on the program, you have to think about what am I going to do on this program? Because every TPM, we bring different skills and strengths, right? So you have your technical skills, you have your program management skills, you have your leadership, communication skills. What are those skills that you will be leveraging in this program? And then how will you be doing that? So some programs might need you to put a whole bunch of things together. Some programs might need you to resolve the chaos or a conflict that's coming along. Now, you may not know all of these things, but then how are you going to be using your skills is important to identify. And then when you go into the review itself, you look back and say, here's how the program was progressing. Here are the things I did. So the impact, say launching a product, was everybody's impact. The engineer product, everybody had that same impact. But what were the things that I did specifically? So did I resolve some critical dependencies? Was there a critical path or was something really red in terms of the risk that I helped mitigate? And so again, when I say help mitigate, doesn't mean you're going to go sit code and mitigate something. It means that you made sure that everything was happening and that you were putting together. Or maybe it is something where you found a technical issue and you asked about that, right? It could be that. So again, it is not as tangible as measuring the number of bugs or the lines of code, sure. But that's why sometimes, one, you set goals in advance of the year or half or quarter, whatever you're trying to measure. And then say, okay, how did I do against those goals? And especially if you're saying, I wanted to build this type of skill set, did you do that through that particular program? Does that help answer your question?
All right. One final round of applause for Priyanka. Thank you so much.